Hi, this is David Nitchman, and welcome to Effective Feedback: What, How, and the Particulars. First of all, what is feedback? As teachers, we probably all think we're giving feedback all the time, but Grant Wiggins maintained that all too often, teachers are more often providing data and advice. Data in the form of grades and corrections, and advice in the form of generalized ideas on how to improve one's work. So what does feedback, as opposed to data and advice, actually look like? Feedback is specific information. If a student has a run-on sentence, you tell them to place a period between these two words to fix it. Feedback clearly describes what the student did or didn't do. You have a run-on sentence. You need to split it into two sentences. Put a period here. Feedback is aligned with learning goals. If you're giving feedback on writing sentences, the goal should be for students to learn how to write clear sentences and maybe paragraphs. Feedback follows an example. Students should have been shown examples of good writing. And finally, feedback is timely. Don't wait. Some other basics about feedback. Often as teachers, we don't need to tell a student they need to improve. They know it by their own internal compass or by comparing themselves to their peers. Sometimes they can self-correct. Sometimes they need guidance. What does this look like? If they can self-direct, they'll do it. We have all seen that student silent during class discussions. They are giving themselves feedback. They can see their peers are getting the right answer. Maybe the feedback they're giving themselves is, next time, I will do the reading before class. Maybe that feedback is, I did the writing, but I didn't understand it. I'd better ask a question. Either way, the feedback is actionable. Do the reading. Get extra help. About teaching versus feedback. According to Wiggins, teaching asks what should be done. Feedback answers the question, what did I just do here, and what should I have done just now? This makes sense. When teaching, we are instructing a student on how to do something, how to get a specific desired result. In the feedback process, the student has obtained a result. The teacher can then explain what the student has done, what they could have done to achieve a different or more desirable result. For example, you have two contradictory thoughts in this sentence. Try breaking it into two sentences. Be sure to use a transition phase so the reader knows you are contrasting two different ideas. And finally, the three legs. Assessment, teaching, and feedback. Like this stool, the process has three legs. First, teaching. The students are instructed on how to achieve a desired result, acquiring a skill or knowledge. Then assessment. Has the student achieved that result? Then feedback. Some students can self-process this step and take the necessary action. Most students need guidance. What did I do? What do I need to do differently? Remember, this guidance needs to be clear, aligned with learning objectives, as in the moment as possible. Finally, Grant Wiggins' 7 keys to effective feedback. They're common sense if you think about it, but you do have to think about it. First, feedback needs to be goal-defined. Feedback paired with assessments needs to be closely tied to the same learning objectives as the assessment. It needs to be carefully tailored to help students achieve a specific result. Tangible results, clear about results. As a teacher, are you sure you're absolutely clear about your expectations and in your explanations and feedback? Wiggins recommends videotaping lessons to be sure. Don't judge. Give actionable feedback. A lack of clear, actionable direction during feedback can make students feel judged. It can lead to resistance from students, not because they're being contrary, but because they don't understand. Offer neutral, goal-oriented facts. Don't see this face in your students. As an expert, it's easy to offer feedback that is too technical, too advanced, or sometimes just too much of it. Keep it simple. The worst that will happen is the students will say they understand and ask a more advanced question. If a student is struggling to understand, it might very well be your feedback. This has been repeated several times, but it can't be repeated enough. Don't wait on it. Give feedback in a timely manner. Not necessarily immediate, as that may not be possible or even appropriate. But the longer you wait, the less impactful the feedback will be. I see this especially with my writing students. Feedback that happens after they're done does not stick. That feedback needs to be ongoing. Let's put the forming informative. If you want students to be able to act on the feedback you give them, can't be fire and forget. They need constant opportunity and consistent opportunity to act on feedback. Consistently reinforce that feedback. It will help them learn from their mistakes. And finally, more on consistency. It seems intuitive to say that students need to hear consistent feedback. They also need to hear it across the board. It's challenging enough to be consistent with one teacher, but students often have many teachers, and some feedback on student skills especially go across subjects.